welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show. I'm Adrienne, and I'm coming to you from the BMG Network, thebmgnetwork.com, or maybe you are on the BMG Network's YouTube channel or on a major podcast platform. Thank you for tuning in. And we're going to dive right in without any delay to the topic today. Let's talk about, I'm sure you want to talk about him, Dr. Anthony Fauci, and some comments that he made on Sunday when he appeared on Face the Nation. It's really not a surprise what he said that I want to highlight. Well, it shouldn't be a surprise, but it may be a surprise for some of you. But see, for those of you who chose to get, as Michael Knowles says from the Daily Wire, the Fauci ouchie, those of you who chose to get vaccinated against your will, I'm speaking specifically to those who chose to get vaccinated against their will because maybe their job was on the line and they didn't know what else to do, or because they were frightened, bullied into being frightened, or bullied into believing that if they didn't get vaccinated, they didn't care about their fellow man, or, whatever the reason is that you may have chosen to get vaccinated, even though you didn't want to. Could be religious reasons you violated, could be health concerns you violated. It could be just, I don't feel like doing this, you violated. Whatever it is, you went ahead and you got vaccinated because you felt that you didn't have a choice or whatever. I knew, that we were not going to stop with this quote unquote fully vaccinated definition of getting these shots, these 2 shots or whatever they said at the time. This is what you need to be fully vaccinated. I knew they weren't going to stop. And you may have heard before, because I'm sure it's come up before. I'm sure it's come up before, but right now, as far as Sunday, just straight out, he was asked, Margaret Brennan asked Dr. Fauci about boosters. If people will need to get boosted every 6 to 8 months. That's what she said. And he left that door wide open and said that, you know what? These officials may want to boost people intermittently. And that's a quote. Boost people intermittently with this vaccine against this coronavirus. Okay? So here's the deal. You didn't think that you were going to own your body anymore after you submitted to this, do you? And I'm not pointing my finger. I mean, there are people, listen, they strong-armed people. They told them that they were going to lose their jobs, and there were people who were concerned about that. So I'm not really addressing that, how you came to that decision, or even that you came to that decision, but you came to that decision. Okay. And I point my finger at these people who felt that they had the right to do that. This unconstitutional, unholy mandate. Okay. So I'm really talking that, but for whatever reason, whether it was because you were concerned about finances or thinking that this was going to help show that you love everybody or, whatever, you decided to get it, but you didn't think that you were going to own your body after this. You didn't think that it was going to be over, did you? Because I've said all along, as have other people, this has nothing to do with your health. These mandates and this pushing this vaccination, it's not about your health. So if you're one of those people who just think that these officials have your best interest at heart, I hope you're waking up now, because now they're talking about, well, we're going to boost people intermittently. We may have to do that. Well, it's quote conceivable that, it may be durable and it may go for 6 months or even longer, but, we really don't know that right now. And to quote him, he said that they do not know definitively what that course is going to be. Went on to say whether it's going to be a 3-shot and you're done, or 3 shots and then every once in a while you have to reboost. We'll have to see how things roll out. Otherwise, we just can't say something and guess about it. See, you don't own your body anymore. They do. And so you, for example, wanted to make sure that you still had your job because, of course, people were being fired and all this stuff if they didn't succumb to the vaccination pressure. And you felt like you didn't have a choice, I guess. If you're one of those people who didn't want to, but you submitted to it, particularly if your job was on the line, right? You were concerned about that. You had to be, quote, fully vaccinated. And we said it back then, and he probably alluded to it back then, not sure. But that they were going to continue to move the goalpost. They were going to continue to move and change the definition of what fully vaccinated is. That's the issue. That's one of the issues here. That's one of the problems here. This is one reason some people, I imagine, said, you know what, I've got to stand my ground because today this is fully vaccinated, but tomorrow this is fully vaccinated. And if you have to have a booster every so often to be considered fully vaccinated, then you're never fully vaccinated because it's always more. And now, then after all these boosters, you've got so much stuff injected in your body, you don't have a clue what's in there. You don't have a clue what's going on because, of course, this experiment has not been out there long enough for us to be able to test these long-term impacts. So every time they feel like it, they can tell you, well, to keep your job now or do this or do that, then you're going to have have a booster. And the thing about it is you have to understand that this is not about your well-being. If it were about your well-being, they would want you to know all the risks involved. They would admit that some people have had horrible adverse effects. Some people have died. They would talk about these breakthrough cases, which they don't want to talk about, try to downplay, all this stuff, but they don't want to talk about that. And if you want to be even more out there, as I've heard some people say before, if it were really about health, then they would be talking about, okay, what about, they would be trying to mandate what you eat and because you know what, some of these folk, they'll be doing that next, right? Just for other reasons, control. But they would try to mandate what you eat and make sure you can't smoke. And, it'd be a whole lot of other things. Make sure you be mandating this amount of exercise because your chances of getting this or dying from this are diminished because you do this, because it's about your health. These people are not interested in your health. I'm telling you, there's something else behind the scenes. And that's why they continue to push it, even though they're getting legal pushback, because they know this mess is unconstitutional. And so when they started getting legal pushback concerning these mandates, what did they do? They came out and said, we still want you to get this vaccine. So go ahead right now. Don't wait. Go ahead right now. Why? Because when that door closes and that legal door, hopefully, prayerfully, this thing will get the whole kibosh. But we better make sure that you go ahead and get it. Go ahead, go now, run. Get this so that they can get as many people vaccinated as possible. Why? Because there's something behind the scenes. They're not interested in your health. Please. They don't even believe half the things they say, which is why we find people like Fauci and we find people like President Biden getting busted without masks on and stuff. The very thing that they want to muzzle you with, suffocate you with for the rest of your lives, even though they're also pushing the vaccinations. It's not about your health. It's about an agenda that they have. Listen, I'll let you guess what that agenda is. I just know there's one. There's clearly one, because they don't even, quote, follow the science. Okay? And they intend to keep you boosted up and, quote, fully vaccinated, which will be different tomorrow than it was today, which will be different next week and next. I'm telling you, this is an ongoing thing. See, some people thought that if they submitted to some of these guidelines that we've seen for the past about 2 years now, that it would get us through faster, because that's what they said, right? They said that if we would just comply, if you just be willing to wear these masks, then we're going to get through this sooner and then it'll be all over. But it doesn't work that way, because this isn't about masks and it's not about health. It's about control. and some other things. And again, you can guess what they're trying to do to us. But this is about power. And people who get power, people who don't have developed character, I should say, and get power, don't relinquish that power. Even if it seems so simple. Even if it's like a mask, like what power is there in that? I'm telling you, power corrupts. And it feeds an ego that's already inflated or an insecurity that needs to be fueled. So when you thought that your submission was helpful to the cause, the only cause it was helpful to is further empowering people who don't deserve power because they can't be trusted with power. So your submitting didn't help us get through faster. Your submitting only prolonged the issue because it fed the need for power. So now, no, we can't let go of the masks mandate stuff and the guidelines. That's got to stay. You're not getting through this any faster. We're not only making those mandates remain, we're adding to them. We're gonna have more guidelines because power. Oh, so drunk on power. It's not about your health. And so now we're seeing they're talking about these boosters being nonstop, perhaps. And you don't control your body anymore. It's not yours. It belongs to the people who think they have a right to make you put something in you that you, for whatever reason, don't want. So for those of you who submitted to this, I'm so sorry. And again, for those who chose to be vaccinated, I don't have a problem. I'm not, I don't guess, anti-vax. I don't know. I just chose that, you know what? I am not doing that. But I don't point my finger at people who decided that they want to do that. That's their right. My problem is, as I've said before, forcing people to do this. Forcing. That's wrong. It's evil. It's unconstitutional. And the motivation is wrong. Period. I don't trust these people no farther than I can throw them. Don't trust them. And now they want to shoot you up for the rest of your life with the, as Michael Knowles would say, the Fauci ouchie. So here it is. Right there on Sunday on Face the Nation, Fauci said it, maybe even said it again. And that is that they don't have an answer. And that it may be, quote, let me quote this, quote, it may be that we will have to boost people intermittently. We will have to. And we will have to not to make you safe. We will have to because it continues to fuel our power. It continues to fuel our power, and you will feel trapped because the reason you did it the first time may have been because you needed to keep your job. I don't know, maybe you're going to have to do that. Maybe that's going to be ongoing and you still got to keep your job, or you've got to be able to frequent this particular place and they're not willing to let you in if you don't have the vaccination proof. And so now you've got to do this again and do this again. And now you're thinking, why did I even submit to this in the first place? My life is in their hands. I don't own my body. I got all kind of stuff coursing through my veins. And the government is out of control. Well, I don't want to leave this on a negative note. I know this sounds negative, and I'm not trying to leave it on a negative note, but you know what? I'm not one of those people who believes we're going to fake, we're going to pretend, we're going to act like this is all good for all of us. It's not. And there are people who are vaccinated who are obviously getting the virus, spreading the virus. So this has just been ridiculous. But again, I don't want to just be negative because I'm not trying to be negative. There is hope, but I'm telling you, the hope is not in these people. If your hope is that these people are going to wake up and see what the common sense people already see, or all of a sudden they're going to have a change of heart out of their own goodness, you can forget it. There's no goodness. There's no goodness in any of us. So there's certainly no goodness in these people who have an agenda. Our only hope is in Christ. Our only hope is in Jesus. Our only hope is that he will step in and expose darkness. Our only hope is that he will rescue this nation and where we find ourselves on so many levels, and certainly on this level as well. So that's my message to the people who submitted against their will to this ridiculous mandate. You see where you are. I pray that you ain't boosted up every 3 months for the rest of your life. I pray that. I hope that. I pray that. We need. But I don't have confidence in these people for good reason. So there you have it. This is today's episode of The Adrienne Ross Show. So thank you for tuning in, and tune in regularly, subscribe, share, tell everybody about it, tune in regularly, and also go to the BMG network, where there are other podcasts that are enlightening and informative and engaging and even entertaining, and check that out as well. And please, would you leave me a rating and a review? You can go to the BMG network on Facebook and do so there. You can also do so on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. Maybe other major podcast platforms allows you that as well. It would be really helpful if you leave me a rating and review, and I'd like to read them on the episode. I love to read them and share what you're thinking, but I can't do that if you haven't given me any. So let's do that. And you can also reach me at adriennerosscom@gmail.com if you'd like to leave me an email. All right. God bless you abundantly. The Adrienne Ross Show was produced and edited in the BMG studio. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod. Find more episodes of The Adrienne Ross Show at thebmgnetwork.com and major podcast platforms. Be sure to tune in regularly. You don't want to miss even one episode.